Welcome to Holistic Healing Worldwide. In my new episode, I have Robbie Holz from America. I'm very curious about her healing methods because I came across her and I read her book, and she's all about Aboriginal healing in Australia. So welcome, Robbie, to this episode.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Yes. I came across on the internet, on your website and the website of your husband, and I'm so curious about your story. What happened to you? What happened to your husband? And maybe you can introduce yourself about that. Can you tell our viewers about your story?
Okay. Well, the reason I'm passionate about helping people heal is because I've almost died myself twice. And I healed myself even though the doctor said it was incurable, what I had. So when I delivered my son back in 1985, it was a very rough delivery. It was 36 hours, and they decided to give me a blood transfusion when we were finished. It would perk me up faster. But what it did was it gave me hepatitis C, which is often a fatal disease. And so the hepatitis C almost killed me. And then they put me on the doctors put me on an experimental treatment here in the Seattle area. And the experimental treatment almost killed me. So twice I almost died. And at this point, Western medicine didn't have anything to offer me. I had gone through everything that they could possibly help me with. And the hepatitis C was still raging in my body and affecting my liver. So I had a very young child, and I really wanted to be with him as long as I could before I passed, and to raise him as much as I could and actually help him remember me. He was too little to remember me. So I was determined to survive as long as I could. And I went down this natural path, and it ended up being what the Aboriginals teach in their beautiful healing modalities. And it was the same thing. And I ended up completely curing the hepatitis C. The doctors would test me for years and said, no, you don't have it. And they were mystified by that because back then it couldn't be cured. So that's why I got passionate about helping people. Even though medical science may say there's no answers for you, there are answers. And I ended up healing myself. And that was 40 years ago.
Okay.
So
you not only have hepatitis C, you had more diseases I read. You had only fibromyalgia and fibromyalgia.
Yeah, very good point. So when they put me on the experimental treatments, that ended up creating a whole other list of problems. I ended up with fibromyalgia, temporary brain damage. I couldn't remember how to get water out of the faucet. I couldn't remember how to get dressed. I ended up with a whole host of problems. And I was in bed for about 6 to 8 months. I can't really remember. But I ended up a chronic fatigue. I mean, it was a long list. And I still had the hepatitis. So I ended up, taking a more holistic approach, the body, mind, spirit approach. Like I said, it's the same thing that the Aboriginal people have taught us. And that's why we decided to get this information out to help other people. And my husband, I hadn't met him at the time this was happening, that he was a very well-renowned, very respected physicist. He had been on magazine covers for physicist. He had won awards. He had a lot of patents, especially for outer space. And but he had MS, and the doctors, he had about 6 months to live. And so he had young children that he wanted to survive for. So he heard that the Outback Aboriginals had remarkable healing abilities. And it's a number of synchronicities that created this opportunity for him to learn about them and to connect to them. That's in the book, Secrets of Aboriginal Healing.
I read the book. Very great.
Yeah. So he went into the Outback in a wheelchair as a quadriplegic, meaning he had no feeling from the neck down. And he was with the Aboriginals for a short period of time. And within a period of about 10 days, he regained feeling in his body, which he hadn't had in 7 years. And he was able to clumsily walk on that airplane ride on the back of the way home from the United States. And it changed him dramatically. He was very much a scientist, and they taught him how to heal. They very generously, very kindly gave their ancient healing secrets to him because they wanted him to bring it out into the world because he was highly respected as a doctor. And so they felt that we don't the civilization doesn't really understand how healing works, and that we're missing a lot of the pieces to it. So that's why they gave Gary this information. And he came back, and it changed his world very dramatically. And so he spent the rest of his life using what the Aboriginal people had taught him. And we decided we have to get this information out because they asked us to, and it's extremely helpful. So we put the healing modalities that had been passed on word of mouth for over 60,000 years. They have not only disclosed this information out once that we know of to a white person, but they gave it to him.
Okay.
And we put it out, and it ended up being in Secrets of Aboriginal Healing is now in at least 47 countries, published in a number of different languages, because people really resonate to it. It feels like the truth. And it's actually, they're ahead of their time. It's like quantum theories and quantum physics, using the mind to heal the body, and how the emotions affect the body. It's involving the body, mind, and the spirit. So it's very effective, and it's very important to heal.
Yeah.
To use that.
Yeah. And he uses like the wisdom of the muscles, like muscles. They ask questions to him, and they responded, "It's not okay. It's okay."
Yes. Very good point. They used muscle testing to find out because the body won't lie. The mind will, but the body does not lie. And so the Aboriginal people, when he was in the Outback, they would use muscle testing to find out what's really going on. What's the root of his illness? Is he ready to heal? And what he discovered, what they helped him understand, was Gary had a really challenging childhood. He had a very abusive alcoholic father who used to beat him. And Gary was a genius. I mean, he was very, very smart. So he learned how to use that powerful mind of his to numb himself emotionally to this abuse, but it ended up numbing him physically as well. And that's why he developed multiple sclerosis. He couldn't feel his body. So he came back from the Outback with feeling in his body again for the first time in 7 years, and just ended up developing these amazing healing abilities that the Aboriginals had shown him when he was in the Outback. He could see auras. He could see inside the body. He could work with his healing spirit team from the other side of the veil. He recognized. Then he started to learn. He had an angel he called Julie, who would work with him. She would work through him, and it was a pretty remarkable that what he ended up doing when he came back.
Yes. So he developed himself further when he got back without the Aboriginal family he had taught. So
yes,
he developed him further. And when did you meet him in the timeline?
So I met him. He went into the Outback in 1995. I met him in 2001. Okay. And we ended up working together. And he started developing, he started becoming known as this very gifted healer, where he could heal people using his hand and directing energy. And he would heal. It started out with animals, and then he developed it he started working with people. And the second book talks about those healing stories, like when a blind child was brought to us, and the different, whether people believed in it or not, and how we would be able to help them, or sometimes not help them, depending on the soul's intention. Yeah. So, we ended up getting more people than we could possibly handle, even though we didn't advertise. Mm-hmm. And that's when we decided we've got to get this information out and help as many people as possible. And that's when we put the books out, the Aboriginal Secrets of Healing, Aboriginal Secrets of Awakening, and an online course, so that on our website, so that this could be available to anybody. So because it was beyond our ability to help at that point. There were too many people. Yeah. We had people driving across the country, parking their RVs in our property. It was just getting crazy. So we're like, okay, we need to start stop one-on-ones and start helping people as many as possible. And that's when we start doing speaking engagements and television and, podcasts and that sort of thing.
Okay, that's great. Yes. So this platform is also like reaching all the world, like holistic healing worldwide. You can reach all the world on this platform, of course, also. So many
Yes.
in Europe and Asia and everywhere else are going to hear your story, of course.
Everywhere. It's really, I don't think we expected it to be, I certainly didn't expect it to be going all over the world like it is. And it's interesting. It doesn't matter if it's Korea or it's Croatia or it's Germany or it's Australia or New Zealand. It's just, people really resonate with it. I think a lot of people recognize that the outback Aboriginals, the remote outback Aboriginals that don't have any connection to civilization, who've always stayed hidden and remote, have remarkable healing gifts, and they have beautiful wisdom, and that they are living on a higher dimensional existence, and they can see what a lot of the ancient Aboriginals have always done is they're telepathic to the plants, to the people, and they spend a lot of time in you might call it meditating, where they're connecting very deeply to the other side. Yes. And they have the ability to see inside the body and manipulate energy, and just they can do telekinesis, where they can move objects, they can remote view. It's amazing what they can do. And so they very generously taught their healing to Gary, and then I was given the permission as well to help pass this information out. So that's what we did.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like if they are living their true life as they have been, like a soul incarnating in the life and never disturbed with anything. While the Western people always have the television, have diversification, and there are not an ability to develop those kind of things.
Absolutely. They spend more than half of their time in, you might call it meditation, dream time, or whatever you want to call it. But Gary noticed that even the little children were doing it at age 3 or 4. They start teaching them that. And they'll tell you that when they connect to the other side, that's more real than what we think our reality is. Yeah. So what they'll tell you is, we have not learned to use our subconscious minds to create and focus like they have. And they're very skilled at it. And that's what they're trying to teach us. And that's what we put in the books, is how to start really using this very, very powerful mind to create what you want and not what you don't want. Not creating illness and disease, but creating sustained wellness.
Oh, yes, I understand. Yeah. I saw some other book and someone was working with those people, and they say if you have a birthday, don't think it's special because everybody ages and it's just normal. But they celebrate if you achieve something new, and then they celebrate.
Yeah, that's a good point. They don't have it. They don't have an ego. There's no, if they have a hunter that goes out and brings back food, the hunter might be the last person to eat. They're not special. They don't even have words for my. They don't have a word for possessive words. They're very much into everything is equal. They know they're a part of the land. They know everything is one. They know they're very connected to Gaia and the ancestors, that they know that that's part of who they are. So they're very much into gratitude and how to be of service. How can we be of service to others? And that's very fifth dimensional existence and frequency and vibration, is being in love and compassion and service to others.
Yes. And do you think that the world as we know it as now, are we going to the fifth dimension? Because you already hear some people telling you about this.
Absolutely. We are in third, and we're, briefly going into fourth, and then fifth is the ultimate goal, because that's what Gaia wants to do. Gaia wants to achieve a higher vibration, a higher frequency, which is love, and move out of this third density negativity, the greed, the materiality, the ego, the depression, the fear, a lot of fear. It's time to move out of that. And so that's what's happening. We're in the middle of it's uncomfortable right now because we're in the middle of the birthing pains for this new human, but it's happening. It's definitely happening. And we're doing very well. It may seem very scary, especially here in the United States. Things are really topsy-turvy here, but it's because we are, for a lot of people, it needs to be sort of the dark night of the soul to get our attention, to help us let go of ways that are not helping and are not in our best interest. So that's a lot of what we're feeling right now. For some people, but it's definitely exciting. We are on track. It's happening. We may not hear about it, but it's definitely happening.
Yes,
So
I saw a blog that you wrote on the website about the third and the fourth and the fifth dimension. And I'm putting your website, of course, in the remarks, and people can
yeah.
also read about it, what you've wrote about that. And do you think that we can notice it anything in our lifetime when before you're going to die, before I'm going to die?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you asked me that because I have a grandson who's 10 years old, and they're telling me that a lot of the changes that I want to see, that we want to see, he will see in his lifetime. And that that the war imprint, the war mentality on this planet will be gone in 200 years. Now that may seem like a long time, but it's in the big picture, it's not. But that's just going. It's not even going to be part of this consciousness anymore. It's happening. And a lot of the things that my 40-year-old son will experience are going to be tremendously exciting.
Yes.
So yeah, it's happening. It's just that it just doesn't always feel like we're moving in the right direction, but we are.
Yes, we are. In a third dimension, it's always going slower than you have the hope of from.
And it keeps pulling you back down into that fear and the negativity. But what's happening, and this is why the Aboriginal people gave us this information, is they're showing us how to move up because they're living in fifth. They're showing us how to move up into the fourth and fifth and to stay there. Not just tap into it, but to stay there. When you're feeling extreme joy, and you're feeling extremely grateful, that's fourth. But it doesn't take long for us to get pulled back into fear or anxiety or judgment or whatever.
Yes.
But what's happening is we're starting to tap into it and stay there longer and then move on. The goal is ultimately the fifth. And this planet will no longer be a third dimensional planet. It will serve fifth dimensional planet because that's what Gaia wants. And that's how we have so much help right now, is because Gaia is asking for this help to shift her, and the energies are coming in. We have a direct line to the center of the Milky Way galaxy, and that creates wave upon wave of these high energetics, these higher frequencies. It's kind of like tuning us up. And so it's happening. It's not there yet, but it's currently happening. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And that's
Very exciting.
Yes, it's very exciting. And I think it's it's the time there because I'm a homeopath and I work with frequency medicine, frequency remedies, and that people have to know about the other part of the healing process, not only the regular ones in the hospital. That's why I started. I did like a Shoko journey, and I got a little bit out of my existence, and I saw that I was like a shamanic healer in my soul.
Yes.
And and I saw like the globe, and there were all angels around the globe. Oh, guys, it's a golden globe. So that's why I thought of this one, holistic healing worldwide. And I thought, then we have to get connected and not do it by yourself.
Yes, because we've never had this level of help before. Because this is a pretty extraordinary thing that's happening. We are shifting without tremendous without a wipeout of the planet. We're trying to keep as many people alive to help move through that process without having to go through a lot of destruction. And so we're having more help angelically and in a lot of other ways than we've ever had before. It's quite extraordinary. And it's really amazing what's happening. And we have a lot of eyes on us. A lot of very, very they said it's like a very crowded quadrant watching what's happening with us. So
we are in the middle of in the universe, all watching us, what we are doing on Earth.
Yeah, big stage, very big stage. So there's a tremendous help. And I know that you and I talked not that long ago about angels and guides and how they can help us.
Yes.
And it makes such a huge difference when you engage their help. They want to help. They're here to help. And as we allow them to help us, that allows them to grow because they're serving out of love. So it's a beautiful win-win for everybody. And so they can help you heal. They can help you find happiness. They can help you move into love and compassion and let go of this fear and negativity, overcome this stuff that the mind gets stuck in. So yeah.
How beautiful is that? Yes. I'm going to make a remark for the video we already took from the other one. It's for Beyond the Physical World, another YouTube channel. And I'm about to put in the video over there. It was such amazing conversation that we had. And it's going to be here very soon. And And what can people expect about Aboriginal healing when they come? Because a lot of people get on with the books and they like it and they want to join and they want to be healed. What kind of diseases or what kind of people are you seeing?
Well, and that I'm glad that you asked that, because what you're doing and what they're recommending, it can be complementary with whatever other things they're doing. You know, if they're going to the doctor, they're going through treatments, it's complementary, just as
Yeah.
what you're doing. It's very complementary. You can use it alone, but you can also use it with whatever else you're doing. But they will tell you, it doesn't matter what it is. They will tell you if the body, the mind, and the soul are all aligned with healing, all three, anything can be healed. It doesn't matter what it is. But a lot of people don't know that. They just work on the physical. But you have to pay attention to the mind. You have to pay attention to what does the soul want. Because we don't realize that oftentimes we're creating the illnesses. It's like this mind is incredibly powerful. And if you are into a lot of negativity or fear, that's affecting your body. And if you're constantly bombarding your body with these negative thoughts, it creates a different kind of cell. It's very discombobulated, and it blocks the flow of oxygen, nutrients, and energy. It's like it creates this swampy, perfect breeding ground for disease. And the hardest emotions for the body to handle are self-hatred and shame. Those are really hard on the body because they're very systematic. Like I had fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is they'll tell you that's system-wide stress. It's throughout the whole system. Whereas the heart is more grief-centered. If you hold a lot of grief here and you have, you may develop a tumor, and the doctors may go in and surgically remove that tumor or tumors. If you continue to hold that grief and you have a lot of grief and you're not releasing it, the tumors will grow right back. So that's why you need to pay attention to what's the mind doing. Because the flip side is, I know you know this, is when you have love-based emotions, it creates a different cell. Dr. Emoto showed us how it looks like a beautiful snowflake.
Yeah.
It's a higher vibration. And disease can't sustain in higher frequencies and higher vibrations. It holds a lot of light. It holds a lot of energy. And it makes it easier to heal. And so if you have a lot of gratitude and love, those are really powerful emotions to help someone heal. Joy, laughter. And it's not just good for you and your body, it's good for everyone in the whole planet. So when you have these higher frequencies, higher vibrations like love and compassion and gratitude, that creates a vibrant, like a teeming river, very vibrant and thriving. It creates a different environment. So that's why the emotions are very important. That's why with Gary, when he was, numbing himself to his father, he was numbing himself physically, and he needed to learn to forgive his father, to let it go, because it was blocking his healing. When I got really sick, I was not paying attention to my body. I was working way too many hours. I was working 60, 80 hours a week and building a home and raising a child. And it was too much. And I wasn't honoring and respecting what my body needed. So I needed to start loving myself and nurturing myself more.
Yes.
And now that the other component, so it's the body, the mind, and the soul, if they're all aligned with healing, that anything can heal. Sometimes people go too far and the body cannot heal itself anymore. Sometimes the soul does not want them completely healed, but that's more unusual. So maybe they came in and they were deaf or they were blind and they came in deliberately to experience that. That's part of the soul's journey. So the soul might let you improve, but never completely heal. But that's unusual. But that's why you need to pay attention to, why is this here on my path? How is it here to help me grow?
Yes.
And once you no longer need that, like when I was so stressed out and not paying attention, I needed that disease to get all those problems, those physical problems, to get my attention, to get me to stop.
Yes.
And once I stopped and I was nurturing and loving my body, I didn't need that anymore. So I was able to heal. Then the angels and guides are able to help me heal. My body was able to heal and sustain that healing.
Yes.
So for most people, the soul really does want you to get better. It doesn't want you to be hanging out in this negativity and the emotions. So, ask your guides and angels to help you do that. And some of our books talk about that, the angels in waiting and living your best life. They're outlining exactly how to do that, but it does make a difference.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So it's very always every disease has some kind of soul level and thought level that they have, like a chronic disease, like chronic fatigue, that you're very tired, or maybe like
Yes.
has another symbol for your mind. What's causing it?
Right. And chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, it's becoming more and more widespread. It used to be women, now it's men and women, and now it's teenagers. They're getting it younger and younger because we have so much more stress. So you have to pay attention to that. So what happens is it's like the body just crumbles under this emotional weight. It cannot hold all this negativity. It's just too hard on it. So it's getting our attention, and people will come to us. They used to come to us with pages of things wrong, and we're like, well, are you ready to to stop this? And that's what the 5 steps of the Aboriginal healing modality is. First one is you got to be willing to stop this, and it's possible. But you have to become aware. That's another step. Aware of what you're doing and change it. So it's one of the examples that I love that the Aboriginal people gave us was they're like, you got to get to the emotional root, the emotional core to this illness, because there's almost always one there. They said otherwise it's like picking the top of a dandelion. It's just going to come right back again. You need to go in and weed it out, pull out the root to this illness. Then you can sustain that wellness.
And your inclusionist has to do it as well, because when the muscle testing said with your husband, do you want this? Then the muscle testing in the beginning said, no, I don't want it. Something like that I read.
Yes. Subconsciously, I think he didn't feel worthy enough or something or whatever.
Yeah.
But so muscle testing, we describe that too, how to do that. Yes. And I use muscle testing all the time for what vitamins, which is the best supplement, yes and no's, if this is a good time to do something or whatever. Okay. It's tapping into that inner wisdom.
Yes.
But very, very helpful to find out what is going on deeply, subconsciously, you may not be aware of.
No. I understand. Yes. Okay. Yeah, there were like 5 points I read in the book. Like 5 points. He said to be aware. You want to have to heal, of course. And what are the other 2 or 3? Can you tell me about
there? So the first one is willingness. You need to be willing to make some changes. You have to have an awareness of what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay. You have to have an awareness like Gary needed to become aware that he was creating this numbing physically by numbing himself emotionally.
Yes.
And then you have to have the third step is you need to have an acceptance. You may not like it, that it's happening for a reason. And we are here to learn and grow and evolve. And so it's here to help you learn and grow and evolve.
Yes.
That's the third one, acceptance. And again, your guides and angels can help you find acceptance. Then another step is the empowerment. Take back your power. If I had believed what the doctors told me, they said you will never heal. You'll be giving yourself shots of this experimental treatment for the rest of your life, which was pretty horrible because it was such it was rough. But if I had believed that, I would have stayed in that and never changed. I wouldn't even be here. Yes. And Gary too, if he had believed in that. So take your power back. Yes. We have so much more power than we are aware of. Take your power back from whatever, like Gary needed to take his power back from his father. Even though his father was no longer here, he was still giving him his power. So take his power back. And then finally focus on what you want, not what you don't want. It's very common for people to focus on what they don't want. Yes. And that creates that. So you focus on what you want. You don't say, I'm going to fight this cancer and get rid of it. That's giving energy to the cancer. Instead, it's like, I'm focusing on creating a healthy, well body.
Oh, yes.
2 different things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because everything is starting with the frequency, and if you start doing good thoughts to the frequency, then the frequency is changing in the aura in your body, of course.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I learned with homeopathy, the frequency is where the disease starts in the energy, of course. And lots of plants and animals and all kinds of remedies we can use, because all the plants we have forgotten because we don't live with the plants.
Yes.
And they have the frequency to heal as well. So they mix and match the good plants with your disease. That's what we do for the homeopathy, of course.
Yeah. Now, do you muscle test for that, or do you just feel it? How do you know what to use?
Well, I do conversations with people, and I know I know in my feeling what I need, and I'm going to look for those plants, look for those remedies. Yes.
Yeah, you can feel the answers inside. Yeah.
Yes. But testing is also a good thing. Maybe I can start doing that also.
Yeah. If it were, but whatever works for you, everybody's different. Maybe you don't need it. Maybe you're kind of beyond that. So
Yeah. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's very important. I think it's a good thing that so many people are interested in your healing method, and they come to you and they read the books. That means that many people are looking outside of the hospitals and other kind of doctors because they want to see the holistic part of healing. So that's the good sign.
Right. And I don't know about the Netherlands, but I know in the United States, we tend to focus more on just the body and the symptoms of the illness rather than, sorry about that. But I turned my phone off. I don't know what happened. So, but we're focusing here. We tend to focus on the physical symptoms and not even pay attention to the diet or what the mind is doing. You know, some people may pay attention to their food, but they also have to pay attention to what are you feeding yourself mentally. You know, it's not just about the best food. It's about, you know, love and compassion and joy and laughter. That makes a difference, giving your body what it needs to thrive rather than creating that disease and illness.
Yes, because your lifestyle doesn't only mean that you have to walk every day like 5 kilometers or eating the good food. Lifestyle is also what you give yourself in the mind, because if you watching the wrong televisions during the night, you get all negative and go to bed. It's something different that you watch like your nice YouTube video or maybe read a nice book, and then you go to
bed
differently. Yeah. Yes.
Right. Because you have to pay attention to what are different energies, different emotions tend to hang out in different places. Like we talked about, the grief tends to hang out in the solar plexus, the chest area. Worry tends to be a stomach thing. And so if you have kidneys are, I have it here, the Chinese, anger inhabits the liver, and kidneys harbor fright. So if you have a genetic predisposition for kidney problems, and you have a lot of fears, you're creating, you're going to pick the weakest link, couldn't be the kidneys. That's what's going to come out. That's what's going to manifest is something with the kidneys. So you want to pay attention to what kind of emotions do I have? Like you said, what does the television make me angry, or does it frustrate me or create a lot of fear? And maybe it's time to shut it off for a while, or go for a walk, or do something that turn the television to something that makes you laugh,
Yes. Yeah, let yourself be in a better frequency, of course. And I think also like the thing from the family, like your mother's mother, and from the family, it's all the same, maybe disease they given through. That's why it's important that the holistic healing and the Aboriginals, they know their ancestors and they know how they were.
That very good point. I talk in the secrets of Aboriginal Secrets of Awakening, how this was interesting. I thought we can, and the Aboriginal people know this, like you just said, they're very aware that their ancestors are part of them. The scientists were doing experiments where they were doing experiments with mice. Mice love cherries and almonds. That's their favorite thing to eat. So they were feeding the mice cherries and almonds while they were shocking them electrically. And that was creating a fear. So that what got to the point where whenever the mice would smell cherries or almonds, they were afraid they were going to get shocked. Okay. What they discovered is generations down the road, those mice still had that same fear whenever they smelled cherries or almonds, even though they had never been exposed to that experiment themselves. Generations down. So, sometimes we come in to heal certain family lines, so maybe you come in to experience that because it's healing the ancestors and it stops it from moving forward in future generations. So that could be another reason that people are dealing with an illness, is to finally end it, because genetically it's just going to keep getting passed down.
Yes, and I think your grandmother is watching you in her soul level, and she sees that you're working on it, and then she sees that you are healed again. I think she will be happy as well, because the family line is healed as well.
Yes.
Moment. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll be very grateful to you that you did that.
Yeah. Yes. What a beautiful way to be of service. Absolutely. We're so brave for being here. It is a very challenging
Yeah.
planet. And it's not easy. It's a blessing and it's a gift, but it's not always easy to have a physical body.
No.
But we are very, very brave. If we knew how extraordinary we were, we would feel tremendous love for ourselves and each other. Yeah.
Yes.
Very brave.
To incarnate here and to live this lifetime, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I love to connect with people, and I love to connect with you and talk about things like this. So that's also like a great part of the earth, of course, that you can talk with each other, exchange thoughts, exchange healing methods, of course.
Yeah. Yes. Find like-minded people. Yes, that does help. Yeah.
People, yes. And if you are also on the website, Holistic Healing Worldwide, and can people reach you like online or where? How can they reach you?
Yeah, they can reach me on my website. I don't do one-on-one healings or one-on-one consultations anymore because all the information is up there. And there's an awful lot of free information up there to help people. We put a lot of things up there to help them, whether to work and connect with their guides and guardian angels, or how to change their emotions, or how to calm that mind down, how to become aware what's going on. So there's a lot of information on holzwellness.com, which go it up there. But yeah, we're just, our passion, like yours, is to help as many people as possible.
Yes, that we have in common, of course. Okay. Well, I want to thank you very much for enjoying, for this nice conversation, telling me about your story, of course. And I hope as many people hear this.
Yes, it's always a joy talking to you.
Yeah, thank you. Same wise.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye.